What a strange day in Kinnick Stadium this past Saturday was. Iowa finding a way against Michigan State on Senior Day, a game in which Mark Gronowski couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. The Hawkeyes struggling with pass defense, kind of shades of September once again, parts of September. But in the end, it's Iowa this time that finds a way late to kick a game-winning field goal and write this chapter of the 25 season. But the season not over. The Hawkeyes will travel to try to capture another trophy game this Friday. It's a short week for the Hawkeyes. They'll play at Lincoln against the Huskers. We'll talk about that game in just a second. But a reminder, I will be live with you Wednesday from Big Grove Brewery in Omaha. The new location is open for business. And folks, a special announcement. We've got former Hawkeye DB Adam Shada, who will be joining me live and will be meeting all of you. Join us at the Omaha Big Grove over on Catalyst Court. You see the address on the screen there. The show will start at 5 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Live show until 6:30. And then at 6:30, we're hanging around and we're going to watch the Iowa women's basketball game. Yes, a watch party there at Big Grove. And there's a potential for more basketball later, depending on what the men do on Tuesday, how late the night goes, etc. So anyways, great time. It's going to be a great evening. Come out and visit us. Get there well before showtime, 5 p.m. Central Time for the live show with former Hawkeye cornerback Adam Shada, and then a live watch party there at Big Grove for Iowa versus Western Illinois. That's a Big 10-plus game, so you can watch it with us. No subscription needed right there at Big Grove in Omaha. This appearance brought to you by Big Grove Brewery and our friends over in Omaha and North Sioux City area, RTI Threads. So we're talking about Iowa and Nebraska. This game is always close, isn't it? I mean, the last time it wasn't. I mean, what comes to my mind, 2017, that game there. But I mean, man, that's so long ago, nearly a decade ago. Iowa also blew out Nebraska in 2016. And since then, games have basically been close every year. I mean, you have the Alex Padilla attempted comeback where Nebraska built a big lead. I mean, Iowa's had control of games, and then Nebraska's kind of hung around. But in general, this game comes down to the final quarter, and Iowa's had Nebraska's number in almost every year. Now, this is a Nebraska team that is once again without its starting quarterback. Iowa dealt with that this past week against Michigan State. This Nebraska backup, a better prospect. TJ Lateef spelling Dylan Raiola, who's been out with an injury. Lateef was a really good prospect at a high school, had a bunch of high major offers, was a four-star prospect. He is mobile. He's a very good athlete. I thought he looked comfortable at times last week against Penn State, but boy, the Nittany Lions really did rout the Huskers 37-0, the win. I did not think it'd be that big of a landslide. And I was surprised to see Vegas favor Penn State by as much as they did. But this sometimes gives you an indication that Vegas knows more than we do. And in this case, they were right and then some. Again, 37-10, the final. And Nebraska's only gotten blown out twice this year. Both of those occurrences have been on the road. They played at Minnesota, lost 24-6. And then this game in Happy Valley. Now, keep this in mind. This game is in Lincoln. Nebraska has not lost in that fashion in Lincoln. Now, they did lose to USC in a tight one there. USC, though, I mean, we just watched Iowa play at USC. And yes, that was at USC, but it was raining, and Jaden Maiava still slung it all around the yard. Nebraska held Maiava down. A $135, no touchdowns, one interception, under 6 yards per attempt for Jaden Maiava. Think about that. That's the same quarterback that seemed like he couldn't miss against Iowa in the second half in the pouring rain here about a week ago. This Nebraska pass defense is legitimate. And as I was combing through the different stats, it's really the only stat that really stands out to me about this Cornhuskers team. They are second in the country in fewest pass yards allowed per game. The only team that's better in that category, Ohio State. Nebraska is one of just two teams that is allowing less than 140 passing yards per game. Incredible. Only one quarterback this year has thrown for 200 plus against Nebraska, and that was in their game at Maryland, Malik Washington. And we know Michael Locksley teams can sling the ball around, so not completely a surprise, but they are legitimate through the air. Now, they're not great on the ground, and that's the biggest difference between them and a team that might be competing for, probably would be competing for a playoff spot. Heck, they're 7-4 right now with a fairly favorable, I thought a very favorable schedule heading into the year in the conference. They're 7-4. I don't think they're all that good in any other category. I think they're below average. You look at the numbers, they're below average in rush defense. They're below average in rush offense, which surprised me. I liked Emmett Johnson, but the rush offense has been, again, just slightly below average, I would say. And in that Nebraska-Penn State game, Nebraska got out to a nice start. A big run for Emmett Johnson put them down in the red zone, and Penn State just ponied up and stopped that Nebraska rushing attack at the goal line, and the whole game swung at that point and ended up being a landslide in favor of the Nittany Lions. And now you have that interim for Penn State, who is apparently getting an interview for the head coaching job. I don't think he's probably going to get it, but he's gotten his debut with a couple of wins. So this is a Nebraska team that's kind of hard to predict, especially with a backup quarterback. You're coming off a landslide loss, but again, they've not had a result like this at home. But they also weren't blowing teams out. In general, when they won this year, even against the likes of a team like Northwestern, they were winning close games. So I think this game will be close. It's always close. Nebraska's 7-4. This game gives Nebraska an opportunity to finish with a better overall record than Iowa. The winner of this game has the better record. The loser remains at 7 wins. Nebraska, this would be the first time getting 5 wins in the conference since, I don't know when. Have they done that in the Big Ten? Maybe they did when they first joined the league under Bo Pelini, but it's been a while. They had the good year under Mike Riley, but man, it's been a while. So, hey, look, it's always fun. This game is always tight. 11 a.m. CBS. Both teams are going to be up for this thing. If you expect Iowa's passing game to be the difference, don't. Now, anything can happen. We found that out this past Saturday. I thought Iowa would win that game against Michigan State in a landslide. I still believe Michigan State is one of the 2 worst teams in the league. I think they're probably the worst. If you put Purdue and Michigan State on a neutral field, I'd probably take Purdue tonight. But Iowa nearly lost to Michigan State at home. I do think emotions were probably a factor there with it being senior day. But with the way Mark Gronowski has played all year, I like Mark. People know I'm a fan of Mark Gronowski, but it's hard for me to have much confidence with his arm right now. It just is. I don't know how you could at this point. He made some throws late, but in general, he has not been consistent by any means. Nothing close to consistent this year through the air. Again, stepped up late in that Michigan State game. But this is the second best pass defense, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. So why would I predict Mark Gronowski to have a big day? They've held a slew of quarterbacks under 100 yards passing. Again, they held Jaden Mayava to 9 of 23 and a $135. That's Jaden Mayava with those receivers. So I fully expect Iowa, if they're going to win this game, it's going to be with special teams. We saw some big special teams on both Nebraska's side and Penn State's side this past weekend. So Nebraska can kind of be wishy-washy. They've been better on special teams this year, but they also give up plays. I mean, if you learn anything from these first 11 Iowa games, if you're an opponent, don't kick to Caden Weegan. I mean, like, if you're Jonathan Smith, how do you end up kicking to Caden Weegan? And it burned Michigan State all 3 times they punted to him, especially the touchdown, of course, and then the punt return that put Iowa in position for that late drive and eventually that game-winning field goal. So, yeah, I just think it's going to come on the ground. Who can have a better day, Kamari Moulton or Emmett Johnson, or I should say the tandem of Moulton and Patterson and Xavier Williams? If Moulton can stay healthy, he's been dinged up a couple of times here the last couple of weeks. He should be the workhorse, and I like him in that matchup. But this game will be won on the ground and with special teams, and I do think Iowa's better up front. Nebraska has given up way too many sacks this year. The Minnesota game's a perfect example of that, but they just give up too many sacks. So Iowa should win the battle up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And, I think Iowa's got better special teams, but it just always is close. And the fact that it's a road game should neutralize some of those advantages. When you can't throw the ball real effectively, you better be really dominant on the ground. And Iowa hasn't been nearly as dominant on the ground as they were last year. So we shall see. Some things to keep in mind for this Friday. It's a Black Friday game. And remember, myself, Adam Shada, former Hawkeye cornerback Adam Shada, live at Big Grove Brewery on Catalyst Court in Omaha this Wednesday, the 26th day of November, as we count down the hours to Iowa, Nebraska. We'll be live on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Join us live at Big Grove. Meet Adam, meet me. We'll talk Hawkeyes 5 to 6:30, and then at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, a live watch party for the Iowa women's basketball team in their game against Western Illinois. We'll talk to you Wednesday.